we got engaged on the steps of the old YM. Bought the ring from Beaverbrooks, went to the YM on one knee, gave the ring, then went wrestling. Well, she did a bit of shopping, and we got married on the 28th of December, and I went down to the YMCA in the morning, wrestled in the morning. But the trouble is, what the buggers did, when you get in the sauna and the shower, I'm like showering because I had hair then, so I'm showering like this, and they kept pouring shampoo on my hair. So I put about 12 lots of shampoo. My hair was like a thing, and I've got a wedding photograph, and it's all like stuck all over. You know?
Although I'd been to the YMCA for a long time, I'd never been down to the wrestling, and somebody said, we want you to come to the wrestling club, because there's a young lad there, and he's 13, and I was in my 20s at the time, and he said, this young lad, you know, we want you, with me being small, they said, we want you to, you know, be a partner for him, you know, and I thought, 13, there's no 13-year-old going to be me. And I went along, and it was joy, and I made a friend for life, and I made a friend with you for life. You and Stan, I must take this opportunity to say, you and Stan were my inspiration throughout the rest of it, you know, for sporting. The things you did, you talk about not getting any money out of it, well, you did things that personal trainers get loads of money per hour for now. You did for everybody. You started people off, you spent time and showing stuff. Stan did the same, you know, and that was a good thing about the YM.
Yeah, it's like coming from home. Everybody lets on to you, and now and again you'll have a talk and someone will tell you the troubles.
I go back 50 years with some of these people, and you know, it's as if they're my family, you know. So
I've had a lot of friends from the YMCA, and I don't mean friends for a couple of years or a month or 2 months or same on holidays. It's friends I've had for years, and I can go back and pick them up. You can go and leave them for 10 years, but you come back and pick them up, which that's what it's all about. You feel as if it was yesterday, and you've got them back again.
I've got a lot of friends. In fact, every morning there's about 10 of us, and the manager here, I train with him, and he comes regular, and I have a little class doing stomach exercises, and the same lads come every morning, and you know, we all do it together. And they're in the 50s, 60s, but I'm the oldest. And the oldest, you know, that's what I say, I'm the boss of a little joke, you know.
when you see yourself with all these people, and you know, it's a different era in Manchester at the time. You know, it's not just about, it's about the time and the place as well. You know, to me, when I see something like that, I remember what we were doing that day, and.
We've got members all over the world as we speak now who are still YMCA, if you understand me. And I think Bill Beswick has said this. I mean, Bill Beswick, Fred's brother, who is one of the top sports psychologists in the country. But, I mean,
it was England football team's sports psychologist.
And
all due
England
to this.
Rugby, But he's still, and he doesn't get in a lot nowadays, but he just loves coming in. You know, and he says you never actually leave the YMCA.
The type of people that have come in, like Billy Connors, for instance. He brought so many lads on, you know, out of pure, the pure kindness of his heart. If somebody didn't have any money, he would pay for them himself.
Funny sort of culture, the YMCA, because at that point the male membership had to be persuaded to let the juniors come in, and that was the best thing we ever did in the 60s. Encouraged the youngsters to come in. So at sort of anything from, I think, what age would your Andrew have joined? Danny, about 4 or 5 year old. Yeah. I mean, we were on father and son camps, weren't we, together? Up at Glossop, because we had
is that what was called Simca?
Yeah, the Simca. The Simca. And that really gave us a base to project not only the wrestling club but all the clubs really.
I've got 2 sons, Thomas and Nathan. Both done a bit of wrestling. I've been for a run with Thomas tonight. He beat me, but I had the wind against me.
So tell me a little bit about what happened when the women started being allowed to come in.
To be honest with you, I walked in when the women started.
Some of you didn't like it.
You know this. And I walked in, my noddy. I looked out, looked at the pool, just turned round and walked back again. And then Bernard's brother did the same.
But David, my
That's his brother.
my poor brother, you know, he's as shy as you could think, you know, he comes out of the shower and walks and dives off, does an elaborate dive into the pool, and there's women there who shouldn't have even been there, but they were.
He was a top free-fall parachutist though, David, wasn't he?
David was a parachutist. He was a parachutist. Yeah, well, you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be seen emerging from a freezing cold pool. Not while there's women there. It doesn't do your credibility any.
I was just going to say though, Chris, you only ever did it once.
Well, Catherine did the very, very first mixed keep fit class at the old YMCA, because it was all men them days, and you could walk around, naked. And then the second mixed keep fit class was a chap called Bernard Orton, and he comes in the gym, he's like drying his hair with nothing on. We better go do with this. We had a good physique, Bernard, fantastic physique, and the week after there was 15 more women in the class.
The thing about it was like the place as it was in the old YMCA, and as it continued here, it was a bit of a glue pot, wasn't it? You came here, you had to be here, you know what I mean? You had to be here at your time, you had to be with your group, and by nature of that, you got to know other sports and other people by it, and there was no class. There was no class in it, you could be at a table with a bricklayer or a barrister who was involved in the same. There was no, it was all one level. Divide. It was all about the sport, and it was about what you did. And if you talked to Wayne about his fives, Wayne would talk to you about your wrestling. And Freddie Beswick, who was a great person for getting people talking to each other and drawing people into the sport. It was that people crossed over and tried different sports, like David did with the wrestling.
I'm glad you mentioned Fred Beswick, because I'd like for you to just discuss Fred, because I know he's obviously recently passed away a few weeks ago, and he was very integral to the YMCA, Mr. YMCA I think he was called. Just want to just reflect a little bit on Fred and what he meant to you.
I think Danny'd be best for that, wouldn't you, Danny?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Bit moving, really.
Yes, I know, I understand.
Danny and Fred used to put shows on. I mean, if I just tell you, I hired Danny and Fred for my wedding, and they did the Bolero. This was before Torval and Dean. Danny played this magnificent-looking woman, Spanish lady. Wow. And Fred came in with his little hat, Toreador type ghetto. It looked terrific. And my father-in-law at our wedding, Leslie Mine's wedding, he said, I thought that woman was magnificent. It didn't really. So that was another club we could have set up, wasn't it? The amateur dramatic. No, we used to do all that years ago.
We used to mime to things. That was easy. You're the one that I want. We'd do that and things like that. And Fred could make me laugh. That was the biggest part of it. He could be serious and make me laugh. Yeah. If you're trying to do something funny, you've got to be serious, and then it becomes funny. Yeah. And when he used to come through that bloody door in black leather on a thing like that,
get right into roles,
wouldn't he? Police, mate, gone there. Yeah. We used to have an annual dinner and dance, which used to come off round about the beginning of the season. and we always used to do a little act. And in the end, people were more interested in the act than what they was in the dinner. And as you can see, we did the Bolero, we did Kiki D and Blair Elton John and Henry VIII. We did everything, and it was great fun. We used to pick a little team to do it, and we used to have some great laughs.
We were fortunate that we've had people who've always brought other people on. You know, they brought their own sons in, and they helped other people's sons. You know, and it was a great thing. It was the old not the Y Club, but the old YMCA. It was like a parallel universe, if you like. In those days, we sort of tend to put them on a pedestal. I know distance lends enchantment, but I think if you die and go to heaven, you want it to be a bit like the YM Lounge was on a Saturday afternoon, you know.
How many of you, ladies and gentlemen, get up sprightly in the morning and do your daily dozen? Yes, it does sound rather like work, doesn't it? Still, if ever you should feel that way inclined, try this series of a dozen, devised by Mr. Herbert Naylor, Physical Training Director of the YMCA. Ankles, knees and hips feel the benefit of number 4. By the time you've done this, you will be really awake and ready for the 5th exercise. And now we are halfway. Any lady who can do this can tame her husband, so long as he doesn't do the same exercise.